Hello you guys, welcome back to Rave Culture Podcast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more. I'm your host, Emma Kapotes. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Today we have an awesome episode. I am so excited to share with you my first artist interview, you guys. My good friend, I'm just like going right in, I'm telling you guys, I'm just like spoiling it all. But my good friend Mike, aka Swan Music, is going to be on today. We had such an interesting conversation about breaking into basically like the music industry, touring, what it's like to create music that doesn't really have a genre, and just all really cool, exciting stuff. I feel like we talked about a lot of different artists today that aren't like the usual types of people that I talk about on my channels and on the podcast here. So I'm really excited for you to hear this interview and just to hear what he has to say. So that is coming up on today's episode. I just really quickly at the top of the episode here want to say thank you guys so much for spreading the word about the podcast. I say it every week. I'm saying it again. Thank you for screenshotting and sharing your phones with everybody and telling people about the podcast. I appreciate you guys posting it on your Instagram stories, Twitter, Snapchat, sending the link to a friend. It really means a lot to me, and I genuinely appreciate you guys telling people about it. And yeah, I'm super excited about everything we've got going on here. Episode 23 already. This is also the episode right before I go to Imagine Music Festival. I'm gonna save all of my like meetup plans and updates and EDM news for the end of today's episode, you guys. So stick around after the interview for all of that fun stuff. But I do want to plug all of the social channels, so you guys can follow my personal account. It's at Emma Kapotes. At Emma Kapotes, that's Kapotes, and at raveculturecast on Instagram and on Twitter, you guys, just to stay up to date with what's going on every week. I also post like a ton of polls and questions. I'm always looking for submissions for upcoming episodes, so that's where you can stay the most up to date on all that fun stuff. I am still collecting stories for an upcoming episode, so attention any solo ravers or any of you guys out there who like to attend music festivals by yourself. I want to hear from you, so please send me your stories, your experiences, why you prefer raving solo, just basically any stories you want to share, any tips you have or advice you would give people before they attend an event by themselves. Please send in your stories to raveculturecast@gmail.com, raveculturecast@gmail.com. I got so many submissions in already for it. I'm really excited. This episode has been highly requested. Probably the most emails I get is about tips for people who want to go to music festivals solo. So I really want to cover that topic for you guys. So yeah, please send me emails, voice memos. I had my first voice memos on last week's episode. I loved doing that. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. So yeah, please attach that to the email if you guys want. And I think that's like all the main stuff I want to say. I really just want to get into this interview. I'm really quickly going to introduce my friend Mike here so you guys have a little bit of a background on what's going on today. So this is one of the first people I knew I wanted to have on the podcast and to introduce to you guys and share with you guys. I really have been trying to pick people that, one, are a part of this community that we're in, and two, that I think you guys will find very interesting. And today is nothing short of awesome. Mike, aka Swan Music, that's SUAHN Music. Again, it's at SUAHN Music, Swan Music. You can follow him on Instagram, Swan Music, also on like Spotify, SoundCloud, basically anywhere you want to listen. Yeah, he's one of my friends that I actually met at EDC Las Vegas in 2017. You guys have probably seen him and my friend Sarah in the EDC vlogs. I also just ran into them at Electric Zoo this past weekend. So they're like part of my extended rave family, and Mike is somebody who's been around music for like such a long time. He's a touring musician, he's in a band, and he in recent years has become a DJ and an artist, and he is about to embark on his first tour performing as Swan this fall. I'm gonna read out all the dates for you guys in just a second so you can try and catch him live. He also has released an EP called Collision Anxiety this past summer, and he just has such an interesting sound. It's very like experimental. He kind of doesn't have a genre, and we talk about that a little today, which was a topic I really wanted to get into because I think that there are a lot of artists out there that are genreless, or maybe they have aliases, or they can kind of go in and out of genres, kind of like Seven Lions, Porter Robinson. I don't know, there's a couple different artists. And Mike is very inspired by like interesting artists like Porter Robinson and G Jones and Aphex Twin. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, which is super exciting. He also had a song come out this past year with Dubloadz. So if you guys are familiar with him, that is actually who he's going on tour with. It is the House of Ghosts tour this fall with Dubloadz and Dack Janiels, and Swan is opening up for a couple of those dates. So it's super exciting. We're going to talk to him a little bit about what it's like to prepare for your first tour. Also what it's like to basically brand yourself, come up with your visuals, and how you become an artist and everything that comes with that. So really exciting stuff we're going to talk about today. And yeah, I met him at EDC 2017. Sorry, I got off track there. With Sarah, we met during Dylan Francis's set at Main Stage. It was, I was with Tara and Brady, my friends, and Sarah just came up to us and she was like, hey, you guys look like a lot of fun. Can we join your circle? And we were like, fuck yeah, you can. And they were so cool. And I have all these videos from that first set we met, from the Dylan Francis set. We spent the rest of the night with them, and we hung out with them that weekend. And then we met them again at EDC 2018 and met up with them again at EDC 2019. And then I just saw them at EZU. So it just like is really one of those like genuine connection type things. And just goes to show you that like the people that you meet at festivals, you really can extend the friendship past it, and it can go on for years. So I knew I wanted to have Mike on here. I really want to support him, you guys. Seriously, please go give him a follow, stream his music, show him some love. If you go to the Dubloadz tour and you see him, tell him I sent you, tell him I said hi. And yeah, and just welcome him into the Rave Culture Podcast fam, you guys. I think that's all I've got to say. I'm super honored to have him as my first artist interview here on the podcast. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I can't wait to hear your feedback. So yeah, let's welcome to the podcast Mike, aka Swan Music. Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You're my first artist interview. I'm so excited.
Oh wow, awesome. Hey,
I feel honored. This is where I'm gonna insert like the air horns, like wah, 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 wah. First artist interview.
Funny, I like downloaded that app the day of my wedding.
Did
I could
you
do it the day I walked onto like the bus that was taking everybody home, so I could just hit that air horn. And that's so like I don't think I've used it since, but now I know I have the app, so I totally get it.
Yeah, I haven't upgraded the podcast to sound effects yet, but we're gonna get there. Maybe I'll start with this episode. So I did a quick intro to you before we got on. And
Cool.
I just mentioned briefly how we met, but I wanted to start out, well, actually, I wanted to ask you what you remember from the night that we met at EDC in your perspective.
All right, I just actually watched a thing about how apparently everybody's memories are so skewed because of how the human brain works. Mm-hmm. Like that, like we actually don't remember things the way that they are. It's like a huge long thing of like telephone.
Okay, I could see that.
And I feel like, yeah, so I feel like every time I think of something now, I'm just like, shit, is that actually how it happened? Or is that actually how like this worked out? But EDC, first year that I had ever gone, Sarah and I, yeah, that was my first year that I'd ever gone. And Sarah, one of my best friends, we kind of just, we had a great time at Ultra. I went with my brother and sister-in-law and a bunch of their friends. And that was like, one of the first like festivals I'd gone to in that capacity. Like I went to Moonrise the year before, and I had been to Mysteryland and stuff, but it was only like for a day and only there for like a little bit. So we had gone to Ultra, had a great time, and then EDC was the next one that was like coming up, and we were like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to go, like whatever. And then we just kind of like on a whim pulled the trigger. It was just like, hell, let's just do it. Let's just go. Yeah. So we went, but I remember probably Sarah coming up to one of you guys because she's the the person that does that. Okay, I remember we were watching Dylan Francis at Main Stage. Yes, and we were like walking around after, I think we had just watched Porter play at Cosmic Meadow, and I feel like I remember we were walking over to Main Stage and was just like trying to find something to do, and we like found you guys. It was like, is it cool if we hang out with you guys? And it just kind of like, I think that was like one of the feelings of what that culture is, like what electronic music culture is, and like what festival culture was, where it was very like, yeah, come on in. Like there's no like oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, or like, oh, you only stay in your lane with your friends and stuff. And I think that was like a very formative time for me of like realizing, oh, this is, people are just totally cool with just, you hanging out with literally everybody, and everybody's excited to be around you because you're there for one common event. And I grew up in punk and hardcore. Like that's the stuff I've grown up with since I was 11 years old. Right. So it's like the community there is very much the same, but different in the way that I think there's a lot of subcultures that do have a like kind of, oh, we don't really do this with these people or these people. And that was like so different in electronic music culture that it was just so welcoming to me that everybody was just excited to be around. So I feel like meeting you guys and hanging out with you guys was like one of those things where it was just like, cool, this actually feels real. It doesn't feel like trite. It doesn't feel like you're doing these things simply because that's what that's what people are doing. Or it just felt like, yeah, we're here and I'm glad that you're here and everybody's experiencing the same thing and excited about this thing. And I don't know, that was just like a really cool thing to me.
It was like a genuine connection. That's how I felt. Yeah, because it's weird. I would agree. Over the years, like how many festivals have we attended now? And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but it's like we met Brady and like 5 years later, and then you and Sarah, I would say like are the core people that I'm like very close with from shows. And then other people you meet here and there, but like we've seen you guys a couple times now. So it's always like so nice to have a meeting spot. But yeah, that's how I remember Dylan Francis. It was a good time.
Yes. And I remember going back, and then I think we went and saw Oliver Heldens.
My favorite. I had those. They're not a thing anymore, but like the Snapchat lenses that year. So like all of my recordings are like one like circular videos, but in my like Snapchat memories, they're like first like perspective, and it's so funny. It's like you and Sarah literally in our group at Dylan Francis, and then I'm trying to think and then we got like a picture together, like all together at Grounds. But yeah, here we are years later. God, many things have changed. There's so many exciting things for you too. I was gonna say, so I didn't mention this earlier, but you've been involved in like the music community for a long time. How long have you been performing though, and like playing instruments?
So I started playing, just like a very quick history. I started playing music when I was in third grade. So I was in the school band playing saxophone. Learned to read music, did like small music theory stuff, whatever you do in elementary school. And I did that through ninth grade. So I did it through high school. And then I was playing baseball alongside it. Super into myself that it was like, I'm going to be a professional baseball player one day. And music was always fun. But as soon as I picked up guitar when I was like 11 or 12, like everything changed. And I quit playing baseball. Like even my grades in school started slipping because I'd be like coming home, and I'd come home at like 3 p.m. and I'd play guitar until 10, 11 at night, until my parents would be like, you got to go to bed, man. And so I was like playing guitar for a really long time and started various small bands here and there. But like once I was 20, let me think. Yeah, probably around like that age range, like around 18, 20, something around that. Well, I started a band with me and my buddy Kyle and my friend Matt and a bunch of other friends. And we started a band, and we were kind of on the offset of it. It was just like, we are just going to, the goal is to tour. My only goal in life was to just like, I just want to see the West Coast. Like, I just want to go out to the West Coast, and I'm broke as shit, so I'm not going to fly out there. But I think if I can get to like be on tour and maybe like tour out there, like that'd be cool. And we did like some really small things, like, a couple weekend shows just around the tri-state area. And like we did one quote big tour, which was like, 9 days. Once we got home from the tour, me and Kyle Singer, we were basically like, okay, so next year we should plan to tour for a month. And this was when like MySpace was huge. And like, this was like my bread and butter at that time. Like it was like, that was where I was learning about every band and every hardcore band. And I was really, really old, like DC punk and what is, the 80s version of like Rites of Spring and Embrace, for heavy, like crazy, sad, depressing like bands, and like my mainstays and like bands that I really enjoyed. So we had a band meeting one night, and the entire band quit. except me and Kyle.
Oh my God.
So, and because they were just like, I just don't know. Like we were like pretty wrecked after doing a 10-day tour.
Oh my God. Not committed.
And so for us, right. And so for us, it was just like, hey, I totally understand, which I do to this day. I mean, it's shit's so hard. And like some people are meant to do it and some people aren't. And that's totally fine.
Right.
We always had this running thing where it's like, there are dudes in bands and then there are band dudes. Right. And there's like the two very different things. And I think like we had already had like almost 20 some dates booked for a tour when they all quit. And we were sitting in the parking lot of a Chipotle just like, so what do we do?
Right.
And we ended up getting a buddy of ours to fill in on bass, our buddy Josh to fill in on bass, and then my friend David joined the band playing drums, my friend Chad joined the band playing guitar, and that was ever since that, and that was in 2008, it just like we went like balls to the wall.
Right.
And then Josh ended up leaving a year later, and one of my close friends that I grew up with, Zach, he joined after that. And pretty much in 2009, we started touring and got some like, it sounds so shitty to say like notoriety because it sounds so like self like,
no.
But
the hard
I
work
feel like
paid off.
It did. And we started, we started friends with a bunch of bands that we were like very like-minded with, who were also kind of coming up at the same time. And then all of a sudden, man, we did this tour in 2010 and we did like, it was something like 50 or 60 days straight. That was our like goal, was just to, tour. Or some days we played 2 shows in a day just to do it. Think like around then was that it was just like, we got home from the tour, paid off all of our bucks. And it was like, what? This was the first time in my entire life I ever, made money being on tour. And then from there, it just like skyrocketed. The following year, the scene of music that my band was playing at the time just exploded. And it was, we ended up being like kind of on the forefront with that, with a lot of our friends. I pretty much spent the rest of that time being on tour. Right. And so from like 2011 until probably 2016, we would tour pretty hard and like anywhere from like 5 to 8 months out of the year. And some more, some less, but it was probably averaged around that. So, I mean, I've been involved doing music and doing touring stuff for well over a decade. But when it comes to like electronic music, my sister-in-law was like, back in like 2013, 14, something like that, was like, hey, like, I want to show you this song. And she showed me, Sea of Voices, that song on the Porter Robinson record, Worlds.
Okay.
And I heard it and was like, this reminds me a lot of this band M83. And for me, it was like, oh, this is just like a rock band, just like an ambient heavy rock band. And I grew up, when it came to electronic music, like I grew up on, like my uncle would give me like Aphex Twin records or like Square Pusher records or Venetian Snares, like these super avant-garde, weird, like IDM artists and stuff like that. And I loved it, but I didn't know that it was a genre. I didn't know that it was like a thing. So when I heard Porter, that was the first time that I was like, oh, like I kind of get crossover thing now. Like it was easy for me to like be like, oh, this is basically just emotionally captivating ambient music, but an electronic artist. So I got hyper into Worlds, like so fucking into it. And I got really into that, went and saw him at Terminal 5. And it was pretty much that time where I was like, we were sitting, oh yeah, man. Like I was sitting in the studio, our band was recording in 2014. And I remember just sitting on the couch in the studio and I just like pulled out my credit card and bought Ableton, which is the thing that I like, that make music on. And, I like sat in and just like put my headphones on, and like pretty much ever since then, it was like, how can I get better at this? Just kept kind of chipping away at it. So I just really loved, I love the process of it and trying to learn something new and do something different, do something strange. So I feel like the process of it was something I just really loved.
That's so crazy. Well, so I have a couple questions for you. One, I don't know if you said the name of the band.
Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't. Sorry.
No, I'm curious now.
my band is called Pianos Become the Teeth.
I'm looking this up.
Staff Records, which... we started in, I guess technically probably started in 2006, late 2006.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've kind of been going ever since. Some years harder than others, and
Right.
you know,
So this is the same band that I was going to say, because you currently still were touring with them up until this year, right?
yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean, together we just aren't like we're right now kind of in a phase of like writing and slowly putting stuff together to see what it is, because two of the guys in the band have kids, and
Got it. Life change,
they're
life switch
yeah,
there.
which is a huge life change for them, and that's
Yeah.
fucking awesome. So like
Right.
for me, it was like once the band started kind of pulling back a bit, and we would always be wanting to write music together and do. There also just came a time where it was just like, if we're not going to be touring as much or doing as much, like I still have the yearn and the want to be doing. So
Right.
I'm just going to kind of figure out how to do that. And I think that was like, it really like cemented it. We took like about a year off to write when our singer has kid in 2016. And it was 2016 when I sat in my with studio now, like, which is apartment / studio.
Yep.
And I think I produced music for like 8 to 10 hours every day that year.
Wow.
And it was all shit. I mean, it was all awful, but it was like learning
you gotta get
how
it out
to
of your
make
system.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. It's just like learning how to make stuff.
So when you started producing as Swan, like how do you, because you brought up genres, and that's actually something I randomly wanted to talk to you about, but
Yeah.
how do you start? Like, did you have a sound in mind or a genre in mind, or do you kind of like being more like genreless?
Now, I think I really love being genreless. But I think when I first started, like the vision is always kind of like, I've always had a very distinct, I guess, artistic vision. Like it took me a year to pick out a name for myself.
Right. Okay.
Just because it was like, I want something I'm not going to hate in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I want something that kind of reflects the thing I'm thinking about. And in a way that like, I've always been told that like the bird, like the swan it's like one of the most like beautiful, majestic creatures, but apparently they're really, really aggressive. Like they're really angry birds. And I kind of liked that feeling, as well as like creating very like beautifully ugly music. And I kind of always was attracted to the underdog, like stuff like that. And I think like the kind of chaos things like Aphex Twin or like that kind of stuff where it was just like I don't even know what's going on because it's so dense.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff I was like really, really, really into. And then it kind of got washed out. Like when I first started getting electronic music, I mean, I loved everything. I consumed all of it. I mean, everything from just like big room house to shitty like progressive stuff that we all like. It just I just consumed everything because it was just so new to me. When I started making music, I think I had the idea that I always wanted to make something that was just like, it was challenging both for me and also I always wanted to make stuff that kind of like satisfied my creative output. Like I want people to enjoy what I do, and I want people to like love what I do. But part of me, the thing that I love so much about artists like Porter or like even like G Jones or those dudes now is that they create like this kind of atmosphere that you just exist in for an hour, and you don't have to love it. You don't have to, but they're going to do exactly what they want to do from start to finish. Not the crowd pleasing kind of people. They make music for themselves. And I think the fan bases, they might not be like the people that you're going to see at main stage, like some sort of beautiful honesty to the way that they create music. And I was just always so attracted to that. So I think like I never, I guess, went in thinking, oh, the genre of this is what I want to do. It was just more so like, I want to make music that when I sit down and I make something, I want it to be like on, what I want to get out of like the creative vision, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think you can totally hear that in like all of the songs that you've put out so far as well. Awesome. And I know I see you posting things too about like collecting references and imagery and like stuff for your visuals and stuff like that. So I want to ask you about your visuals for the tour coming up, but we'll get into that in a second.
Sure.
I wanted to ask you I want to talk about the EP, but also you released a song with Dubloadz this year called I'm the Light. And I wanted to ask if you could just tell how that came about and what it was like working together.
So Dave Dubloadz, so I was on tour with my band in
Mm-hmm.
2017, I believe. Yeah, 2000, late 2017. I'm the one that runs kind of all of our band's socials, so like Twitter and everything. And I was on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter, and I saw that he like tweeted at us, being like, "Oh, like they put out a new song, like I love it." And in my brain, I was like, "Is this the same dude who like the guy like the heavy dubstep dude, or is this like somebody different?" So I
Else,
like
yeah.
yeah, so I like checked out his profile and was like, oh shit, it is the same guy. So like I went, and messaged him through like my Twitter and was like, hey man, like I play guitar in this band. Like thanks for the kind words. It's awesome. And him and I just like hit it off right away. Like we like
Nice.
exchanged phone numbers and then like pretty much texted for like almost a year of just like,
Okay.
hey, check out this record. Like I think you'd be, because he's a big like metal and hardcore dude too.
Right,
So
right.
like him and I would just like, hey, check out this record, or like check out this one, and then I'd send him like some electronic stuff. Be like, oh, I actually make electronic music too. Like check this out, and he like liked what I was doing there, and
Mm-hmm.
so we just kind of had this rapport where it was just like so honest. And I think a lot of people try to be like, I like this artist, so I'm just gonna like ask them to collab or something like
Make it
that. And I
work.
think
Yeah.
yeah, and I feel like that never works. And that was like the coolest thing about Dave, is that
Mm-hmm.
like him and I would just be like shooting the shit, being like, hey, check out this song that I just started. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we'd be like just shooting the shit forever. I sent him a like a very rough thing that I wrote in Australia when I was on tour, and he was like, oh shit, I like this a lot. Like, let me jam with this for a little bit. And we
Mm-hmm.
wrote it for a bit, and now it's like, 3 years later, whatever, it's like that'll probably be coming out later on this year. But
Cool.
the I Am the Light part came out because I was at Lost Lands, and he like ended up getting me into Lost Lands, and we hung out
Yeah.
for a while. And it was just like, it was the way you meet friends, and it was
Mm-hmm.
so incredible to like meet somebody who was just like so real, so down to earth, so
Yep.
like, and he was just incredible on all fronts. So like it was really just a friendship first.
Right, right.
And so I had this demo of I Am the Light that I started, and I'd gotten through the intro and the build up and then like the first drop of it. And then by the end of it, I was just like, yeah, check it out, see what you think. And as soon as I sent it to me, it's like, dude, let me like finish this with you. And it
Yeah.
was like, dude, fuck yeah, let's do it, man. So I sent it to him, and like, I shit you not, it probably, I mean, it couldn't have been more than like a couple days. And he was like, check
Yeah.
this out, and like sent it back to me. It was like, holy shit, this is like it.
Right,
And so
right.
there was like a little bit more finessing here and there. And by the end of it, it was just like, damn, this thing like really took on a new life.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, I think he also kind of like started helping me navigate the waters of the stuff that like, um, helping me meet people and
Mm-hmm.
talk to people, and like,
Networking and everything.
talk
Yeah.
to totally. And like at Lost Lands, God, man, he was just like, every person I'd meet, he would just be like, yo, you gotta keep an eye on him. He's gonna be like one of the best dudes that comes up. And it's like, damn,
That's so
he's just one of
awesome.
those
Yeah.
people that's so genuinely nice without any agenda. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the fact that he's just that nice of a person.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, so I mean, really, it came out of just us shooting the shit and being friends for over a year, and then being like, we should do a song together.
Mm-hmm.
And just, he took a chance on me, which is amazing. And
That's
I
so
can't
cool.
thank him enough for it, because I don't think that I'd be able to be doing nearly
Mm-hmm.
any of this without his like push and help. So
Oh, that's awesome though. I feel like it's the best feeling ever though to be in a position even like just to use your platform or wherever you're at and just like help somebody else out because that's like what it's kind of all about. And Los Angeles just seems like
totally.
the perfect place for you to be.
Oh man, dude, I
One day
like every
I'm gonna go
set.
see you play at Los
Oh
Angeles.
man, dude, every set I was watching, it would just be like, damn, this is like
Hmm.
next level caliber stuff. And that was where I had seen like G Jones do his like first run around for the stuff for The
Okay.
Ineffable Truth.
Yep.
And the feeling that it gave me there was the first time I had felt that way about an artist since I saw Porter at Worlds.
Yeah, he's
And
awesome.
man, it was just like, he just was so in tune to like how visually stuff was coming across. And it might just be because like a lot of his influences there were stuff that when I was younger, it's like very apparent to me that he's an Aphex Twin fan.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, like, you know, he's like a fan of the One O Tricks Point Never guy, who it's that to me was stuff that I was into in like 2014, but not really even like knowing that this is like something outside of this realm. So it's like seeing it just felt so familiar, but so well thought out that it's very impressive. And I feel like every artist that was there did the same thing. Like it was just so good. But yeah, definitely, I feel like that and Shambhala are like my people.
Yeah.
and probably like Electric Forest and shit too, just because it's the people that want to get like real weird.
Mm-hmm.
There's a place for it. And that's like, yeah, that's probably where I belong.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I feel bad because I think I wrote it off after the first year because I'm not the biggest like bass music fan or dubstep fan, but at the same time I am because I just love all music, period. And then just seeing the production he's done and like Excision just as a person, and it's coming up this weekend, so I'm like, I can't wait to see everybody's videos and stuff because it's just like seems like such a good festival. But one day I will put it on the list.
You should. Sure. I think it's great. Also because, I mean, obviously because Excision. I mean, obviously, but it's like he curates the stages so where every stage feels like a main stage.
Right.
So every single artist feels important and gets full production. Something like that is really only something you can get from an artist that's already had to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. No, it seems like he's been able to just like really pull together an incredible like production and total experience just like in these last few years. So I'm excited to see what they do this year. But wait, so then the next thing that came for you was the EP. So you released Collision Anxiety. Was it this summer? It came out this summer, right?
It was in June. Yeah, in June this summer.
Yeah. So then how do you decide on like how many songs you're going to put in that, and like how long were you working on putting this EP together?
Man, some of those songs are probably about a year old, but in the way of I get to like a 3/4 point of songs and then I have to like shelve it for a little bit.
Okay.
Otherwise I get so sick of hearing it and I can't have like really important to not, you know, sit in it so long. Otherwise I will overthink stuff all the time. So totally. Yeah. So like the song Coldest Form is actually the first song I ever wrote. I wrote it last summer. It was the first song I ever wrote that when it was done, it was like, okay, I think I might have figured out now, like where I'm going.
Got it.
And by no means do I think it's like, oh, this is my best song. But I think like when I finished it, I was like, oh, this is kind of the vibe of what I'm looking for, where it's like dark, kind of pulls you under for just a few minutes, but it doesn't, there's a very weird space to it. I think especially when you listen to it in headphones, there's very weird things happening in it. And I think like every time I listened to those songs in succession to one another, I thought of the name like Collision Anxiety because I thought it's like, there's all this shit happening in my headphones while I was on a plane that like gave me kind of that feeling of anxiety.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was, I could kind of blindly see that the like how this should look, how the songs should look. So I think that kind of thing was like, yeah, this is kind of where I'm going. And it kind of spans a lot of weird like hardcore techno stuff that I'm super into. Like a lot of it's in the 120 like breakbeat stuff. A lot of it is just super heavy, droney, like kind of, you know, like bleep bloop stuff, like slime punky kind of things and very droney stuff. And I think like kind of the mix of everything I was doing on that EP was like, this is kind of the first taste of what's to come once I refine over and over and over again.
Right.
But my buddy Andy, who's done all the art for me since.
I was wondering where the art came from.
Yeah, so my buddy Gavin did my logo and my font and did all that stuff like a couple years ago. And I was very like, yeah, this is what I want it to look like. And then my friend Andy, who's also in a bunch of, you know, hardcore bands and doing stuff, he's a graphic designer and he understands my aesthetic like very well in the way that him and I kind of grew up on like older like Factory Records kind of bands, like older stuff in the way of, you know, New Order, Joy Division, Cure, like stuff like that. And I think when his vibe always matches what like early 90s rave posters look like. I was
gonna say, I'm looking at the Spotify art right now. It's so cool and colorful and like graphic. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's like really heavy pixelated and it looks very like, kind of like melty in a way. Like you don't really know what's happening in it. And that kind of stuff I'm just so into. Like the early 90s, like rave posters. Like if you just type in like rave poster from 90s in Google Images and see what that looks like, that is my shit, man. I think graphic design for that, oh my God, that stuff is I'm like so into how that stuff looks. Like the classic 70s like smileys and stuff. Like I don't know, there's just something, a vibe with that I feel like I really am in tune with. So
that's awesome.
I feel like he's always, you know, he sent me like a first pass of some art that he's doing for me now. And like with Andy, he's one of those people that once he does it, he's always like, yeah, let me know if you want to change anything. But I never do. Like it's always exact right off the bat. And he's just that kind of guy. Like he's great at it.
That's so sick. Well, so carrying into, one, I wanted to ask you really quickly. So with the EP, you kind of touched on it, but what do you say is like the main thing you would want people to take away from it? Mainly like this, just getting a taste of like where you're headed.
Yeah, I think I want people to, so like I feel like I came from a time where people spent a lot of time with records. Like you would sit and you'd listen to song 1 and you'd go through song 10 and you know, you spent your hard-earned money on it. So if you don't like it, you better fucking try to like it because you just spent $20 on this CD or this record or whatever. So I think I want people to always kind of see my work as like a larger whole, kind of like a bigger body than just being like, oh, this is just one song or this is just one thing. Like singles. I think singles are great because I think it allows you to try doing different things. And if it fails, it fails. Who cares? Like you're making it anyway. But I think I just kind of want people to absorb maybe some music that they wouldn't necessarily choose. Because I think I write a lot of stuff that isn't your like typical, not typical is not the right word, but like
mainstream or anything like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think
it's like experimental. That's how I think of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if you like give it some time and you just like really sit with it, I think you also kind of develop like as a listener because you start picking out stuff being like, oh man, I didn't realize that there's this little like fill that comes in just for a second. I wonder why they did that. And I think it's because I'm like an ultimate total production nerd sometimes that I listen for things like that in bands and artists to be like, I wonder why they did this 1 second little clip of something in here. Like I'm a huge fan of that band Bon Iver and Justin Vernon. And I feel like his records are just so dense that you can't absorb them the first time you listen to them. And I think the best music is the stuff that you have to really sit with and you know it's good, but you don't know why it's good or why you feel the way that you feel listening to it. And that could just be a product of when I grew up listening to music. But I think that's just I want people to be able to like take away the density and just be like, man, that was like, you know, like kind of an intense listen on a lot of ways. I'd like to revisit that and figure out why I feel the way that I do.
I can't. I'm like so excited for people to listen.
Me too.
I'm so excited because I can't wait to get like feedback from it. And I think it's different. And like, because I always talk about house and techno on my channels too. So I like to introduce other stuff. So everyone go check his stuff out, stream it on Spotify, SoundCloud, on Instagram, and live. I want to, in the last couple of minutes here, just chat about the tour. So the House of Ghosts tour is coming up. This is your first touring as Swan, and it's featuring Dack Janiels and Dubloadz. Hello, Dubloadz again. Here we go.
I know.
So are you excited? It's kicking off October 9th, right? Yeah, October 9th. Okay.
I am beyond excited. I have the most adult anxiety that I've ever had in my life. But I could not be more excited. I mean, this is something I feel like, you know, the day that I like pulled out my wallet to like buy Ableton,
so crazy.
To be able to be like, oh, I just want to show people something and make a show and do something. And the fact that it's like actually coming up is very mind-blowing to me. But I think it's also one of those things that it's, man, I can't believe it. So I think that just so excited. Excitement is like through the roof at the moment. And I feel like I've been preparing a lot of like stuff in my set where it's like, I'm also a huge fan of techno. So I feel like this is also going to be an exciting tour for me because I want to be able to kind of introduce people to something they may or may not enjoy, but in the way that I feel like
it.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think.
But it's one of those things that I love being kind of like like I was saying earlier, it's like kind of being the underdog of something and like kind of challenging people to enjoy something that they may or may not have chosen to listen to initially. So I'm excited to, I've always been, and my band's always been the same way, to we always kind of like stick out just a little bit, like where we don't really fit in, we fit into a lot of different places, but never one like great puzzle piece.
Right.
And I kind of feel that way about my own music, but I think that's just kind of the stuff I create. It's just I always want to be kind of pushing the boundaries of what I can do and can't do, and I'm just so excited to kind of be that person on a tour. That's like I want people to walk away from and be like, man, that was weird, that was something. Like, and
I think that's great,
to me
though.
That's like the excitement, man. Like, you know, the older you get, you want to be challenged. You want to be excited about things. You want stuff to be exciting. So,
plus, and like to be an opener on a tour like this, also, I think that's kind of like the perfect way to do it, because people don't know what to expect, and then you're gonna leave an impression either way. So I think that's a really good way to go.
Totally, man. I mean, like Dave fucking rallied for me to be on this tour. He was just like, you know, no, I want him to be on this tour. And he told me, I saw him and Dion on the Neon Phantom tour in May, like the end of May.
Okay.
And he was like, yeah, I had this tour coming up in October, and I want you to do it. And as soon as he said it, was just like, dude, just tell me, I'm in, like 100% in. Just tell me when the dates are.
Right.
And he's, like I said earlier, he's just one of those people that's just so genuine and has a follow through, that it was like 2 months later, it was like my manager was like, hey, just want to let you know, like, here's the dates, here's like everything, right? You want to do it? And it was like, yeah, of course, I'm in.
That's so awesome.
Couldn't be more excited. I'm excited to be like in that realm and just kind of, you know, take a bunch of flights. And you know, a buddy of mine who he tours with my band all the time, he's actually like coming out with me just to like come out just to have fun. And it'll be nice to have kind of like I have like severe like travel anxiety if I do it by myself. So it's one of those things. Yeah, it'll be cool to have somebody with me. And you know, since my wife can't go, but actually it's 15 friends coming out to our show in Chicago. Awesome. Sarah's coming out to it. Yeah, we have a bunch of people that are coming out to it in Chicago. So it's going to be a lot of fun, man, just to like kind of show and I'm glad it's the last show, because hopefully all the kinks have been worked out by then.
Halloween night too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be fun, man. I've been looking forward to this more than most tours I've done in a really long time. So I'm stoked.
That's so cool. I'm gonna post the flyer, and everyone like listening, I'll give the full details and dates at the end here. But really quickly, just like as a fan, I'm super curious. I'm sure it's different when it's like when you're Dubloadz and it's his tour versus when you're like you or Dack Janiels. But what prep actually goes in behind the scenes on a tour? Like, do you have any production, like say in production for your set, or is it mainly like you're just preparing your music and what, like planning ahead of what you're going to do?
Well, I mean, for what I'm doing, because this is also me kind of going in blind. So it's like what I've always prepared for, you know, when I've gone on tour band wise has been, I've always just spent enough time to practice a set, but for a band, it's, you know, 8 to 10 songs, especially my band, because our songs are long as hell. So it's like, you know, if we're going to play for an hour, then typically we're going to play for like 10 songs, and you play the song from start to finish. Whereas right now, I think I'm like mixing in and out of maybe a little over 30 songs, maybe 35. And I have my buddy, Bijan, who it goes by Zafu, like Tzafu. And he's like a dark house artist. He's fucking incredible. And I've known him for a couple years now, but he's actually putting together some like visuals for me, because I didn't want to kind of go into, and whether or not I don't even know if I show up and tell, like, say, hello video, you know, lighting guy, here's my visuals. Like, so, but he's preparing them for me, and him and I are working kind of closely together, just kind of come up with something. It's like, you know, it's nothing super dense, but I did want something, you know, my first kind of, you know, foray out into the world, to be able to be like, hey, like, here's what I am, like, here's what it is. So I am preparing some visuals, and I think they match pretty well musically for what I'm about and what I'm doing. Dave is incredible because he doesn't really have any boundaries of anything. So I pretty much am just preparing the set, preparing visuals, and I think it's all just going to be great.
Awesome. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait to see videos and stuff.
Man, yeah, me too. I think it's not really going to set in until I'm actually like home in November and be like, wow, because I fly out because there's a couple dates on the flyer that have changed. Like we're not doing Flagstaff anymore, I guess, and one of the Florida dates is different, and it's only Dave that's doing the San Diego show down there. But like, so it's like I fly from to San Francisco a few days, and then do Seattle, fly home, and then fly home, go to Chicago. It's just like crazy how much travel there is. In a band. You really get in a van, and that's just the way it is. Like you don't you don't fly, you don't do anything like. So it's just really interesting how it all kind of comes together. So there's prep in the way of just figuring out what I want to play, and that's been another anxiety inducing thing. So it's like I want to fit in. I'm playing like probably 14 or 15 of my own songs, but stuff that hasn't even been released yet.
Yeah.
Like stuff I've been working on for the past year, and stuff that's going to be coming out, and stuff that's like planned. But it's like there's like 14 or 15 songs that are just mine, and then padding it with stuff that I really want to show people. That's hopefully like a little bit of a different vibe than what they're going to get for the rest of the night, because I think every artist that's on the tour is going to be doing their own thing in the best way.
Oh my God. Well, I'm so excited for you. You're going to have to report back afterwards. And I'm like, so curious what you think of everything. And I'm sure this is like the first of many. So seriously, like good luck. You're going to be awesome.
Thank you. You're the best. Thank you.
Where can people find you? I want to plug all your social channels and everything.
I've made it so easy that you can literally type in Swan Music, SUAHN, and I put it all in caps because if you put Swan in any other way, it looks like somebody spelled Sean. So I always do it all in caps. But
got it.
But you don't have to do that when you're searching for it. But it's if you do Swan Music, all one word, it will take you to everything. That's my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, you capitalize. You got it all.
I got it all. So it's like Swan Music. That's the Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook, the website. I have a mailing list that's on there that I should keep up with a little bit better, but it's that. And so, you can pretty much find it. And then on Spotify, it's just Swan, and that should pop up for a little bit easier.
Everyone go stream his music, go see him on tour this fall. It's going to be awesome. And then we'll keep an eye out also for any new music down the line. I know you're completely booked right now, so.
Yes. Yeah. We got a lot of, hopefully by the end of the year, we have a couple things coming out, and then probably moving into next year, a couple like really big things that are coming out, which is going to be awesome. So
cool. Well, thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate it. This is awesome.
Thank you. No, this is fucking awesome, man. Thank you so much. I'm proud to be the inaugural artist guest.
Well, I can't wait. I have so many artists I'm about to go look up after this because I was like writing them all down. I'm like, oh my God, this is expanding my horizon. So thank you for that. People are going to love this. You're awesome.
It's awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Alrighty, you guys. Thank you so much, Mike, aka Swan Music, for coming on the podcast this week. That was such a good conversation. Seriously, like I'm not kidding when I said I have so many artists to look up after this. But that was just a really interesting conversation. You can tell how passionate he is about what he does and just about music in general. And it's been really cool. And just like I don't even know, 3 years that I've known him, just to see the journey he's been on. And I just like have loved all of the songs he's put out. Like I said, this isn't the typical kind of music that I cover on my channel. So it's like really exciting for me to expose myself to it, but also expose it to you guys and share some newer artists with you. And this is such a big tour for him. I'm so excited for him. I think it's awesome that he gets to go on this tour and sort of like dip his toes into touring as a DJ. So I hope you guys get to go to one of his shows. That would be so awesome. Oh, let me read out the dates for you because I haven't done that yet. But they are kicking off the tour, I know, October 9th. Hold on, I'm just pulling it up here, in San Francisco. He said some of these dates changed, so I'm going to read what's on the flyer, but just like, again, stay up to date with everything. Go on Dubloadz' page. He probably has the most up-to-date stuff. But yeah, it's October 9th, San Francisco DNA Lounge. Los Angeles, October 10th at Exchange. I think he said Flagstaff is not happening. On October 12th, it's in San Diego at the Basement, but that's just Dubloadz. He's not on. And then the tour in Florida, I think, changed. There's 2 dates, Jacksonville and Gainesville. So again, just double check what's happening there. And then the big show you guys should go out to is on Halloween in Chicago at Park West. Like he said, that's where a bunch of his friends, my friend Sarah, is going to that one. Yeah, go get dressed up and go to that. That'll be a fun one. I've never been to Chicago. That's like really high on my list. I would love to go to Chicago one time. But anyway, I'm super excited for him. Like I said, please go out, show him support, show him some love, share his songs, give him a follow on Instagram, you guys. And yes, DM me, send me some notes. You can email me, raveculturecast@gmail.com. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this episode. And if you guys give it a listen, let me know what you think. I would absolutely love your feedback, and I'm sure he's super excited as well to reach a whole new audience. So again, thanks Mike for coming on this week. If you guys want to send me any other suggestions of artists, people in the community, just like anyone you want me to come on to have on here, to have a conversation with, you can always send me suggestions. And again, a quick reminder to send in your submissions for the Raving Solo episode, again to raveculturecast@gmail.com. Okay, I'm really quickly gonna do EDM news here. Let me know if you guys like the EDM news segment being at the end of the episode. I was getting some feedback that people just wanted me to just like get into the topic of the episode quicker. So I'm gonna try out doing EDM news at the end here, but what big things happened? Oh, you know, just that EDC Las Vegas dropped their trailer today and tickets for 2020 go on sale this Friday, but no big deal. The trailer was fucking awesome. They do a good job every year, and you know, obviously it's like home to me. I absolutely love EDC Las Vegas, so I'm really excited for any of you guys going next year and for people going for the first time. I have so much content on my YouTube channel. If you guys don't follow me over there, it's just under my name, Emma Kapotes, but go binge watch my EDC Las Vegas playlist. I think I have almost 50 videos in there. I will definitely be doing more content on it next year. You guys can send me requests for anything you want me to do. I'll probably talk a little bit more about the VIP experience because I did that this past year for the first time. I do have a video on it if you guys are interested in like what types of tickets to buy. I have is a VIP worth it video, so definitely go check that out. Simultaneously, Ultra dropped their trailer today, which I kind of feel like was overshadowed because EDC came out and like my entire timeline was the Vegas announcement and not as much the Ultra announcement, so I kind of feel like the timing of that might not have been the best, but I mean, Ultra, I had so much fun at that festival, and it's going back to the Bayfront Park area, so that's really exciting. It's returning home. So anyway, I didn't even watch the trailer yet. I feel bad, but go watch the Ultra trailer as well. I'm not sure when tickets go on sale, but probably soon. In other festival news, Imagine Music Festival, again, is this weekend. I've said this a million times. I'm going to be there. It's my first time attending. I am staying with my girl, Vibe with Aid. She is another content creator in the festival space. I'm super excited. We have so much content planned for this weekend. We have a meetup planned. It is going to be Saturday at 6 p.m. and we are meeting at the Ferris wheel, you guys. It's right over by main stage. So Saturday, 6 p.m., me and Vibe with Aid hosting a big meetup, and then we're all going to walk over to Wax Motif's set after if you want to hang with us. And I'm hosting another one on Sunday with my Lunchbox fam. The founder of the Lunchbox, Tom, he is such a cool dude. He is going to be there. So he and I are hosting a meetup Sunday at 6:45 p.m. We are meeting at the large Imagine sign, the letters that are right when you walk in, like behind the Disco Inferno stage. We're meeting there at 6:45 p.m. and then we're basically going to go to Justin Jay's set. There's a Dirty Bird takeover happening at the stage. So stay tuned for all of that, you guys. Lastly, in news, Eric Prydz' Hollow show. It is the only one he is doing in the United States. It's in New York City. It sold out all 3 days, December 27th, 28th, and 29th. Your girl got tickets to Sunday, December 29th. I thought for a second there I wasn't gonna go because I couldn't go on Friday and Saturday and I was devastated, but I secured tickets. They added a third date. Hallelujah. So I'm going Sunday and that is gonna be legendary and I will be vlogging the entire thing. Lastly, what do I want to say? Anna Leno is pregnant. I'm super excited. Congratulations, girl. She's so fucking cool. I'm seeing her for the first time in Imagine. So excited. I love that bass house kind of music, so I'm pumped for that. Oh, and lastly, Bass Nectar's New Year's Eve show was announced. It's in Philly, I believe. Hold on, sorry, I'm the worst. Hijinks, that's what it's called. This lineup is ridiculous, first of all. Bass Nectar, Excision, Back to Back Slander, Grizz, Porter Robinson DJ set, Skrillex, Zed's Dead, Big Wild, Closey, Drolo, Kittens, Subtronics, Sowdown, The Underachievers, and Zion. That's fucking ridiculous. Honestly, I mean, if I could go, I would go. That's so fucking good. It's in Philly. It is Friday the 27th. Yeah, and Saturday the 28th, Pennsylvania Convention Center. Yeah, get tickets to that. That's ridiculous. I literally can't believe in one lineup they have Bass Nectar, Skrillex, Porter Robinson, Excision, and Zed's Dead, and Grizz. I mean, this whole thing. Slander, Subtronics, that's so good. Oh my god, you guys gotta get tickets to that if you don't have plans for New Year's Eve. I know there's, what is there, Decadence, Arizona. There's 2 shows in New York City, Above and Beyond and Cascade are the big ones. I'm blanking on all the other New Year's Eve festivals right now, but there are a bunch of them out there, so there's some options. But usually the East Coast gets the shit festivals, and I feel like that's a really good one. I don't know if it's a festival, it's more of a show. But anyway, that is everything I've got for you guys this week. So many exciting things. Please rate and review the podcast on iTunes. I absolutely would love it if you guys throw a couple stars in there. I would appreciate it. And again, screenshot and share your screen on Instagram stories. Tag your girl, tag the podcast. This grows, our community grows here, and our family grows here by you guys spreading the word. So I would love it if you would just share a link this week and again, show Swan some love. Thank you again, Mike, for coming on. That's all I got for you guys. Next week most likely will be my Imagine Music Festival review episode, special edition. So I'm going to try and get that up quickly. I get back from Atlanta on Monday, so I'm going to try and record it and edit this podcast real fast. But stay tuned for that. I'm super excited to share with you guys my thoughts after the experience is done. So thank you guys so much for listening, and I will be back next Wednesday with a new episode. Peace.